So I just got finished watching Apothecary Diaries, a show I never thought I was going to watch, and I absolutely love it and recommend it. So this is going to work as a review video, spoiler-free, and I'll also talk about how I got into this series in the first place. Let's start with the latter. So, I never thought I was going to watch this show, because I have been marred and scarred and burned by romance animes many times in my life. I hate them. Well, it's a love-hate relationship. I hate that a lot of romance animes are not popular and they never get a second season, or the series just doesn't want a second season for whatever reason, right? A lot of animes treat anime as a promotion for the source material, whether it be a manga or a light novel. So with that being the case, I hate getting romance anime started because I get really invested. I start caring about character X and character Y, and then by the end of 1 or 2 seasons, they're not together still. And then if I want to know more about it, I'll have to read something else. I don't like that. You know, I don't like being blue-balled. So I come into these shows very selectively, if at all. And that right there is pretty much the main reason why I didn't initially jump on the bandwagon when it released winter 2023. But here we are a full year later, and I binged the fuck out of it. I finished it in 4 days. I even added a day in there because I didn't want to finish it that soon. I binged the hell out of it. And that's because, while this is a romance anime, it also is one of my favorite genres in disguise. Well, I say in disguise, I was just uneducated about the series, but mystery. This is a mystery show. You know, you got 2 main characters. You got Mao Mao, who is the female protagonist, and then you have Jinshi, who's the male protagonist. Really, Mao Mao takes the center spotlight like 80% of the time, but Jinshi is like right there. In Mao Mao's eyes, this is a Sherlock Holmes story. But in Jinshi's eyes, it's romance, right? So you got 2 things working here, and I'll kind of get into it here in a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'll keep it briefly to episode 1, and then I'll paint very, very, very broad strokes, just in case you haven't watched it. I know the anime has been out for a year. I know that the manga and light novel are years ahead of where we're currently at, but still, just in case you haven't watched it, I do want to, let you guys go in this kind of blind. So now, as far as why I decided to pick this up, it's because I saw that it was very popular. Like I said, we're here a year after it's aired, and it's still topping the charts. It is one of the most anticipated animes in 2025. It is insane, the hype behind this series. And not to mention, I check up with the trends. I see what is selling well in Japan, globally, just all that good stuff. I look at the top-selling animes, top-selling merchandise, mangas, and light novels, and Apothecary Diaries is damn near at the top every single time. As far as mangas go, I don't think it's ever taken the number 1 spot, but it's either number 2 or number 3. It has sold about 4 to 5 million copies in half a year. That's insane. It's more than One Piece. You know what I mean? And then as far as light novels go, this is the most popular overall selling light novel. It's just blowing my mind. So because of all of that, and because season 2 is right around the corner, season 2 drops January 10th, 2025, I said, hey, let's hop in and see what this is all about. And like I said, I was very pleasantly surprised to see that while it is a romance show, that does take a backseat to the mystery genre. And that's my favorite genre. I love mystery novels, I love mystery movies, I love mystery animes, but mystery animes are very, very, very rare to come by. On the top of my head, I can think of 2 animes that are in the mystery genre that pull it off well. The Perfect Insider being the first one, and Hyoka being the second. I would also throw Death Note in there too, but that's like this weird mix of cat and mouse, so I don't really include that. But either way, mystery series are hard to come by in anime. So when I started this series, I was very pleasantly surprised. And here's the thing. When you think about mystery media in general, they either fall into one of 2 camps. The first one being where they hit you with plot twist after plot twist after plot twist, to where when you solve the mystery, there is no way you could have solved that day 1. You did not have all the facts. It's not possible. You were just along for the ride. And then there's mystery series like Apothecary Diaries, where they give you a lot of the facts up front, and you can predict who the killer is. You can predict the motive or how this all played out. And that is what I really enjoy. And a lot of Sherlock Holmes books are like that as well. A lot of the animes I mentioned, The Perfect Insider and Hyoka are just like that. You start the episode, you're given how they died, how this happened, the evidence in front of us, and based off of that, you can properly predict a lot of mysteries here in Apothecary Diaries. So, base level, I gotta reel it back a little bit. I'm getting too ahead of myself. So, like I said, This is a mystery anime and a romance anime in one. To set up the premise, you have your main character, Mao Mao, a green-haired girl, great character. She's really smart. She's an apothecary, so, she's over here studying medicine, herbs. She also knows her poisons quite well. And one day, she gets kidnapped. She works in the pleasure district. She's not a courtesan or a prostitute per se. She's more so just somebody who helps around the brothel. She gets kidnapped and sold off to the imperial palace. There, she works as a maid. And one day, she's presented with a mystery. Two babies are dying, and nobody knows why. They think it's a curse. They think it's, something sinister. Mao looks at it and says, oh, they're dying. I'm gonna spoil episode 1. They're dying because of the makeup that the courtesans are wearing, or the concubines are wearing. And Mao writes them a note saying, hey, take off the makeup. It's killing your baby. One of the people listens to it. The other person doesn't. One baby lives, one baby dies. And because of this, Mao gets discovered. And they say, hey, you there, how did you know this? Oh, you're an apothecary? You're knowledgeable? You can read and write? All right, you're getting promoted here in the castle that you got kidnapped and sold off to. So she now works for the concubines, who are directly under, well, not directly under, but they're the wives of the Emperor of China. This guy has 4 concubines. He goes around, he sleeps with one of them each and every night. Crazy life. But then again, this is old school China and world we're talking about, so it's pretty normal. So yeah, now that she's working for one of the emperor's concubines, she has better tasks. She's over here, looking for medicine. She's over here picking herbs. She's taste testing food for poison. She's doing all that good stuff, and she loves it. Despite being kidnapped and sold off here, she loves her job, because back then, there's not a lot to do, right? Nowadays, if you get kidnapped, it's like, oh God, my family, my Xbox, like my TV shows, Netflix, what am I gonna do? But back then, it was either you lived in a brothel, you sold food on the street, or you were a slave. So Mao doesn't really have too many problems with it, as long as she can do what she loves, and as long as she can visit her dad once in a while. Because she does have family outside of the palace. She's not like some orphaned kid per se. So yeah, that's pretty much the setup for the story. And you kind of just follow her on her day-to-day adventures while she gets presented with mystery after mystery. And these mysteries aren't paranormal. It's all, pretty based in reality. And what's fun about this is that since it does take place in the past in Imperial China, you can kind of deduce why a lot of things happen. Yes, they give you a lot of facts, but also, if you just think about, what happens and what would be poisonous back then that they didn't know about, you can figure out a lot of things. And I think that is the fun part about it. So now, as far as the romance goes, because I explained the mystery segment there, but the romance comes in with our secondary protagonist, Jinshi. He's this purple-haired eunuch. I want to say eunuch in quotation marks because he's not actually a eunuch, right? A lot of the characters in the show thinks that he has his penis cut off. It's not the case. He's actually disguising himself as a eunuch to get his job done more efficiently. But while he's doing his job, he finds Mao. He's actually the one who promoted her to be a courtesan's assistant. So he instantly falls in love with her, and you kind of just follow his journey where he's kind of pestering her. He's putting her on all of these mysteries in the first place because, like I said, Mao is just a handmaid in a way, right? She's just there to clean clothes and taste test food. But Jinshi is the one who keeps on wanting to talk to her, and whenever Jinshi is presented with a mystery from the Emperor, Jinshi then goes to Mao to consult, right? And Mao, what I really respect about Mao is that she is intelligent. What really pains me in a lot of animes is when characters are obtuse, or they're stupid, or they don't have common sense. Mao doesn't have any of that. She is straightforward, she's pragmatic, and I love that about her. She is a little bit obtuse in some areas, but by the time I finish the series, I have come to forgive her for being so damn obtuse, because, I'm just gonna spoil this one segment, but throughout the entire series, she does believe that Jinshi doesn't have a penis, and that's kind of why she's not super interested in him. She's not romantically interested in anybody to begin with, but she doesn't like Jinshi the most because, even if she got something started there, it wouldn't matter because he doesn't have a reproductive membrane. Which, the reason I called that obtuse, even though Jinshi's hiding that fact, is because there's a lot of signs that point towards the fact that he does have one. It's like a running gag, so I forgive it, like I said. And in a way, it's smart because it prolongs the series. They're not progressing their love story that well because, they're on different worlds right now, in a way. But yeah, that is pretty much the setup of the story. And outside of the mystery, outside of the main characters, what I really enjoyed about it is that this show has a lot of solid side characters as well. I will admit, when I first met a lot of these side characters, I thought they would be worthless. Like, I didn't care about the concubines, I didn't care about the strategist Locon, I didn't care about a lot of the other, maids that are working with her. But by the end of it, I really enjoyed everyone. Like, I don't think there was a single bad character, except for her best friend in episode 1. She's so pointless to have. I think she only shows up like 3 times, and by the end of the series, I was just kind of annoyed whenever she was on screen, because I was like, okay, give it to somebody else. But yeah, like, I think they have a solid cast of characters. They all have pretty good backstories, really relatable backstories. It's nothing like super in-depth where there's like plot twist after plot twist, but their backstories are simple enough to where you look at some of these characters and you can kind of relate to them. Like, you have characters who are star-crossed lovers, characters who work at the palace that don't want to work at the palace, or characters who have lovers outside of the palace, but they're being forced to love somebody else. There's even one character who has a tragic backstory, and you don't really see it coming until the end of the show. And at first, they kind of portray it as a villain, and then at the end, it's like, holy crap, this guy's awesome. He's just really set up with a really shitty hand. And that's the thing, like, back then in the day, a lot of people got dealt shitty hands. So yeah, I think this is a really great show. Season 2 is right around the corner. They started working on season 2 right when season 1 ended. I love that a lot of animes are currently going with this format, right? Frieren is a prime example. JJK, another example. Demon Slayer, they started working in the movies right away. Sakamoto Days, working on the second season. Dandadan, working on the second season. I love that these animes, well, yes, it kind of sucks for the animators depending on their work schedule, but it's nice for everybody because we don't have to wait 5 years for another season or 4 years. We're not going to run into the 2012 Attack on Titan problem where Attack on Titan season 1 was massive. The manga blew the hell up. And then 7 years later, we got the anime. 7 is exaggeratory, but you guys know what I mean. Like, and then by the time second season came around, the hype died down. That is one thing that a lot of these series want to avoid nowadays, and you can tell. So I really respect that season 2 is around the corner. I hope the animation quality keeps up because I think it is phenomenal. It also does something I really enjoy from new generation anime where the characters are really expressive in unique ways. I think Dandan is a pretty prime example of this season's anime doing it, where Momo, Okurun, they have like those crazy, stupid puppet faces. Their expressions are weird, wacky, and fun. Apothecary Diaries here does that exact same thing, where Mao Mao is often depicted with cat ears, or, Mao Mao is hissing at people, or Mao Mao is just bouncing on the ground. Like, it's super goofy. And yeah, I really do think the art style is phenomenal. Animation quality is superb. Music is great. There's really not a single bad thing I can say about the series, genuinely. If you like either slice of life, romance, or mystery, this is a 10 out of 10 recommend, in my opinion. Of course, it's kind of crazy coming from me because I am an action junkie. I like seeing guys punch each other, people die, and this show doesn't really have any of that. So, I think that speaks volumes. This definitely has won me. So as far as romance goes, because in the very beginning of this video, I talked about how I don't like romance shows that are inconclusive. And I would say it's true for this show as well. But the thing is that since there's only 2 characters and that they kind of like each other, you don't have to worry about, are they going to get together, right? There's not like, guy number 2, guy number 3, or girl number 2, girl number 3 that you have to worry about. No, that Mao Mao will get with Jinshi by the very end of the series, and it really is a nice, slow burn, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, those are my 2 thoughts on Apothecary Diaries. Please give it a chance if you haven't. Get ready for season 2. It's here. It's coming out pretty soon. And that's all I gotta say. This anime really did pleasantly surprise me. That was a mouthful. Catch you guys later. Peace out.